I am your host, Leah Dunlap, and you are listening to the Oracle on Purpose podcast, where we help intentional leaders clarify their purpose and next steps to create a work and life of significance.
Hey everyone, I want to share three shocking things I learned from my recent juice cleanse that I never learned when I was doing 75 Hard. So if you are one of those people that has been either doing the 75 Hard or doing juice cleanse, come on over because I'm curious whether or not you've discovered these things or maybe they're just as surprising to you. So I'm Leah Dunlap. I'm the Oracle on Purpose. I help leaders, business leaders, women who are out there in the entrepreneur industry who have found themselves kind of stuck in upper limits, bust through those upper limits so that they can actually create the life and business that they've imagined and dreamed of. Well, in doing that, I often, of course, like any good leader, take my own advice. So one of the things that I've done in the past is 75 Hard. So if you're watching this and you've done 75 Hard, go ahead and do the good old hashtag 75 Hard below, because I'm curious to see how many of you watching me have done it as well. Now, I say I've done it. I attempted to do it. Okay, that's the truth. And I stopped. And there's some of the things that caused me to stop or maybe decide to stop that kind of play into this. So stick with me. All right. If you did it, if you succeeded, oh my God, that's amazing. Because honestly, that was super hard. Like, they're not joking, 75 Hard, right? But it was also super hard for a lot of the reasons I'm about to tell you, for me personally. And so anyone that's actually completed 75 Hard, I give total kudos to. It's a really intense experience. That's it. I recently jumped back into taking on a personal trainer. And when I did that, part of what I had asked about was because, frankly, I've been sitting around right here at this desk, pretty sedentary for the last 18 months. And prior to COVID, sorry, we're probably not supposed to say that word on here, but prior to that, I had started with a trainer who I actually really loved. And just before everything hit and we all got shut down, she had decided to move away to Denver. One of the things I learned, which is kind of a side thing, it's not one of the three things, but it is a side note, which is I knew for myself that I actually like working out. I mean, I like walking and I like hiking and I like being in classes and things like that. I just tend to get really stuck at my desk. Is that you? I've got a lot of things on my to-do list, or I have in the past. And so it really helps for me to actually put whatever that movement or activity is going to be as basically an appointment, right? So if you're looking at this piece of paper, I'll put it down. It's my notes, so I don't forget the three things. So as I said, if you've been watching me for a minute here or don't know who I am, my name is Leah Dunlap. And I do, as an intuitive guide for business leaders, I do follow my own advice as best I can. And so recently in taking on this trainer, one of the things that I'd asked about was how to make sure I actually eat. And you're like, wait, that's not cleansing, sort of. So she gave me this program, and part of the program, the eating plan, was a 24-hour cleanse. So I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever really done that before. And the minute she told me about it, I recognized that part of me was getting kind of like, oh, I haven't done that before. I wonder how I'll do. I hope I'll do it all right. And there was a train that kind of started leaving the station, if you know what I mean. So as I was putting all of that together and laying out all of the stuff that she told us to get, and one of them is this lovely shake. It's actually very tasty. But on the particular day that we're doing our 24-hour cleanse, I started to, like the night before, right? Get ready to get ready. Get ready to get ready. Have you ever done that? Like you're going to do something big and it's it's beyond preparation. It's like the preparation is like getting everything set up that we needed to have. We had this juice that we had to take all day. And so knowing where all that was and getting all prepared was one thing, but it's that internal mechanism where we're kind of leaning into, oh, we're going to do this. different, difficult, stressful, trying thing, and our minds start to perhaps play this game with us. So if this has ever happened to you, it might sound like this. It might sound like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? Will I be able to do it? Will you be able to meet whatever said goal was, right? So for me, it was 24 hours without food, just with these juices. And so these are the three things that I learned that day. And what it brought me back to was some of the reasons that I realized 75 hard didn't work for me. Now, again, if it worked for you, aces, congratulations. This is really what I learned kind of after the end of the day and throughout the day. So the first thing that I figured out, right, the first aha was that consistency is different, right? Consistency is different than commitment. Now hear me out. Consistency is different than commitment. What I noticed in 75 Hard was the idea of sticking with a program for those 75 days. There's this consistency that builds, I think, probably around the third week, from what I noticed and observed from other people I was around who were doing it. And that was some of my Achilles heel in 75 Hard. Consistency, right? It was like I could do it for a stretch of time, and then something would happen, and I would lose my consistency, even though I had made a commitment. So it's interesting to me because what I observed during my cleanse was, of course, it's just 24 hours, so it's a lot less of a commitment. But the commitment was challenged like 0-800. The commitment was challenged when I dropped my kiddo off to school, and all of a sudden something inside of me said, I'm really hungry. It's been a long week of being on these shakes and things, so maybe I shouldn't start today. Maybe we should wait some more time before I do the cleanse thing. And then I realized that I had made a commitment to do this way, that I had made a commitment to give this its full time, right? To show up each day committed to doing whatever that day's thing was in this eating plan. And I wondered why I was able to stick with it for the rest of the day. And the reason I think that the consistency over commitment, the difference is that, again, it was a short amount of time, but there was also something that I had committed to this day as part of the whole process. And some part of me said, in order to get to the end result, this was part of the commitment, right? So it was like a total commitment to the whole thing. And when I was in 75 Hard, there was something about a lack of commitment to a reward. Like for me, there was like, okay, so I get to the end of it, and what? And where are we? And what changes, right? Because I saw people doing it over and over. So for me, there wasn't really, I realized, the commitment to what the end result would be, right? Commitment versus consistency. And consistency is still important, don't get me wrong. Every day there's still consistency and staying on track with the rest of the things that have to happen. But that commitment thing really showed up when I recognized, for me, being committed to the overall program made doing the cleanse day kind of mandatory. It was like, okay, well, this is part of the process, so we're going to do it. And we're going to see how it goes, to be honest, right? So that was the first thing that kind of hit me. I was like, that's really interesting. The second thing, and this ties into it. You heard me say we a couple of times. Well, the second thing was in this process, I've done something I haven't done before when I've tried to do programs like this for myself in the past. And that is, I have a partner. My husband actually raised his hand and said, I want to do this with you, the whole thing. So we have a personal trainer that comes in twice a week, and we're doing this program together, which meant, little did he know, that we were going to do this cleanse together. And so having a partner who's actually in the same process with you, right? Who's part of what you're doing, who knows like that 8 a.m., like I said, that 8 a.m., like, oh my gosh, this is the day we can't eat anything. And we just looked at each other and went like, we can do this. I've got you. You've got me. We can do this. We're going to keep each other consistent all day long, but we're going to keep each other on purpose. So what we did was really lean on each other, not just in competition, right? Like how far you're going, which there felt like an air of that to me in the 75 Hard program, was like, who can do that? There was an edge to it for me of competition, like the turning in the information in the program and all of that stuff. And it turned me off. But this was different. This was us being together in the same boat, roughly, rowing the same direction and keeping each other accountable and honest and supported, right? Like, yes, I get it. It's hard, like knowing that and talking to each other. So that was the second thing, was really partnership over competition. And I'll tell you what, my husband and I can be very competitive. So what I really love about this particular day was how much it showed that we could be good partners. We could cheer each other on, even though in general we can get kind of competitive. So that day during the cleanse, we were together. We were a team. We were on the same team. We were in the same boat. We were rowing the same direction. And that really helped to make the process smoother. Last, the third thing, right? This may already kind of start to become pretty clear to you. And it's the one thing that actually in the very beginning of the morning, I got the hit really clear. Mindset is more than mental toughness. All right, come on in. This is where we talk real talk, okay? Mindset is more than mental toughness. There is this, sometimes, what I experienced, especially in, like I said, in 75 Hard, was there's this sense that you can just push through, be tough, be strong, press, right? That's that mental toughness. You can get past this if you just put all of the mental chatter aside. That's definitely a way. Okay, like I'm not going to lie, that is definitely a way to get through things sometimes. It doesn't work for me. And if it doesn't work for you, I have some great news. If you actually change your mindset, then it allows you to rely less on that mental toughness, right? So what does that look like? As I mentioned already, 8 a.m. happened on the day of our cleanse, and all of the things were going off in my head. And even the reminder that this happened in 75 Hard, where I was like, I can't do this. This is not for me. But what was interesting was this was for me. I had taken a different stance on all of it. Remember what I said, like the whole commitment to the whole thing. It wasn't just about the eating plan. It wasn't just about losing a few pounds. It was about caring for myself and my body. I could feel the change already just in a few days of doing the rest of the program, that I was listening and hearing how my body felt, and I was taking care of it. And the mindset shift was, this isn't about the scale. This isn't about what other people are going to see or look at me. Like, you haven't even seen me mention it on Facebook, really, that I was doing this. I really realized this was about me taking care of me. And this break, as part of this program, was going to allow me to do that in a better way, to really reset my body. And then I was like, and my mind. And I was like, that's the mindset shift. Rather than just toughing it out, I was really changing what the pattern was behind when I ate and how I ate and why I ate. And here's some things I learned. This is a side note. One thing was that boredom is not hunger, and that oftentimes throughout my regular day, if I'm busy, I don't eat. So it was really interesting to me to recognize that for a lot of time, I wouldn't eat breakfast. I would just get to my desk. I don't know if this sounds like you. Get to my desk and jump into work or jump into busyness or jump into momhood. And the last person I stopped to add or take care of on my list was me. Full truth right there. So this time, it struck me that because I had chosen to commit to myself and caring for myself, what I like to call doing self-sustaining activities, I saw this cleanse differently. I saw it with a whole new light. And I could see the little pieces of how I could have gone off course that day. And instead, I listened to myself and said, what's really going on? Are you tired? Are you thirsty? Are you bored? Questions I ask myself all day. And by the end of the day, my husband and I hit the buzzer. We made it. We're excited. And what I'm happy to say is the next thing we did was not go out and buy a pizza or crazy food. We shared a salad with some chicken, roast chicken on it. And I didn't even finish my salad, but what I was noticing was when we sat down to eat later that day after the time period had passed, I ate slower. I was more intentional. I listened to what filled me up. And then at the end of the day, I was like, that was it. That's all I needed. Just a thing of salad. And I was done. I was satiated. I was perfectly healthy and felt good. And I made it, right? So I wanted to share that mostly because of those three pieces, right? The idea that consistency is different than commitment, that you can do things over and over and over again just because they become a pattern. But if there's not a commitment level behind it to what the end result is, then you can get distracted. Life can happen. During 75 Hard, we lost our dog and my husband's partner in our business. And it was very traumatic, and other, of course, life stuff happened. And those things felt like they were taking priority. So having that commitment and the consistency has been key so far. Also that, partnership over competition. When we have a group of people that are doing with us, right, alongside of us, and are doing it for their own benefit, but together, we can really help keep each other not just even on track, but supported and lifted up when it gets tough. And then lastly, that ultimately moving your mindset to the right mindset, to the aligned mindset of what you really want will take you further and allow for more ease than that idea of really mental toughness to just stick it out even if it's hard. Because sometimes when it's hard, it's a warning sign that something is not right. So if your mindset is set to care for yourself, right? Think about that. If it's set to care for yourself and something is going wrong, then taking the proper or appropriate steps to get yourself back in alignment, to take care of yourself, to nurture yourself, to take a break, that can be allowed when it's all about higher mindset for yourself versus just sticking it out and taking the whacks, right? Taking those pits. So I want you to know that I'm really excited about this journey that I'm on. I may or may not share more information about it as we go on, because I'm really recalibrating to what it means to take care of myself so that I can take care of my clients and my family and enjoy this really amazing life and business that I have. And so if you're someone who's done either the 75 hard or a juice cleanse, I'd love to hear your feedback about what your experience was like, and maybe what 3 things you learned by taking on a new challenge like that. All right, thanks for watching. Like I said, I'm Leah Dunlap, the Oracle on Purpose. Remember, you are here on purpose.
Thanks for tuning in to the Oracle on Purpose show. If you found value in this episode, we'd appreciate you leaving a comment. Also, you can subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. If you'd like to get clear on your highest vision and next steps, go to oracleonpurpose.com. See you next week.